Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about challenges on the internet, No Nut November. It started as a meme, a funny online dare that spread across forums and social media, but over the years, it's evolved into something much deeper. What began as a joke has turned into a global experiment in discipline, self-control, and awareness. Every November, millions of men commit to going 30 days without any form of sexual release. But what really happens during those 30 days? What changes in your body, your mind, and your habits when you decide to take this challenge seriously? Let's talk about it. For most people, the first few days feel like nothing major has changed. You might even wonder if it's really doing anything. But that's the point where the real test begins. The first week isn't about your body, it's about your mind. You start noticing how much of your energy and focus has been quietly tied to constant stimulation, those small habits like scrolling, watching, or daydreaming. When that source of instant gratification is suddenly gone, your brain reacts. There's a void that needs to be filled, and how you handle that moment determines the path for the rest of the month. Many participants say the first week feels like a tug-of war between old impulses and new awareness. You catch yourself reaching for your phone, not out of necessity, but out of habit. It's in those moments that the challenge stops being just about abstinence. It becomes a mirror, reflecting your patterns, your triggers, and how easily distraction creeps into your life. For the first time, you're not running on autopilot. You start noticing the subtle cues your mind sends when it craves dopamine, that quick, fleeting hit of pleasure that often comes at the cost of long-term energy and confidence. As the days go on, you begin to realize this isn't just about quitting something, it's about reclaiming your focus. You start feeling more present, more grounded. The challenge forces you to sit with yourself, to observe your thoughts, and to redirect your attention to things that truly matter. Many people report an unexpected rise in motivation. They hit the gym more consistently, they wake up earlier, they finish projects they've been postponing. It's as if energy that was once scattered is now being funneled into productivity and purpose. Of course, it's not easy. Around the second week, temptation often peaks. Your brain wants to pull you back into comfort. You might feel restless, even irritable. That's because your reward system is trying to recalibrate. It's used to getting quick satisfaction, and now it's being challenged to work differently. This is where real growth happens when you learn to delay gratification. You're literally rewiring your brain for resilience. You start to realize that pleasure isn't the enemy, lack of control is. What's fascinating is that even though No Nut November isn't backed by a medical structure or a scientific organization, it unintentionally mimics the kind of behavioral training therapists use for impulse control. It teaches you to pause before you react, to become aware of urges instead of being ruled by them. And the more awareness you build, the stronger your mental muscle becomes. Every time you resist, you're reinforcing discipline, and that discipline doesn't just stay in one area, it spills into every part of your life. By the third week, something shifts. The struggle that once felt unbearable starts to feel empowering. You notice your energy feels different, cleaner, more stable. Your confidence grows, not because you've achieved something impossible, but because you've kept a promise to yourself. You're no longer seeking validation through instant release or distraction. You're finding it through self-mastery. People around you might not see the change immediately, but you feel it. Your eye contact improves, your posture changes, and your mind becomes sharper. You stop chasing fleeting moments of pleasure and start creating moments of purpose. That's when the challenge becomes more than a test, it becomes a transformation. You begin to understand that the real power of No Nut November isn't in the abstinence itself. It's in what you learn about your habits, your emotions, and your inner strength when you take control of them. And by the time you reach the end of those 30 days, you realize it was never about what you gave up. It was always about what you gained: focus, confidence, and clarity. The energy that once left you drained now fuels your goals. The distractions that once controlled you now seem small compared to the vision you have for yourself. You've proven that you can master your impulses, and that realization alone changes the way you approach every challenge in life. When we talk about the effects of No Nut November, one of the first things people often want to know is what happens to your hormones, especially testosterone. It's no secret that testosterone plays a massive role in men's energy, confidence, and overall vitality. And when you commit to 30 days of abstinence, your body responds in ways that are subtle yet profound. In the first few days, you might not notice much of a change. Your energy levels may feel normal, and your mood may fluctuate just as it always does, but beneath the surface, your body is starting to recalibrate. You see, every habit we have, every repeated behavior, shapes the hormonal signals that run through our body. By consciously stepping away from habitual release, you're giving your system a chance to reset. For many men, the first week feels like a balancing act. On one hand, there's the sense of challenge and even frustration as you resist old impulses. On the other hand, there's an underlying feeling that your energy is building somewhere you can't immediately see. That's because your body is adapting. Testosterone levels fluctuate naturally day to day, hour to hour, depending on factors like sleep, stress, and diet. Abstaining doesn't create a sudden surge or miracle spike in your hormone levels, but it does remove constant depletion, allowing the natural rhythm to stabilize. And that stabilization is key. It's the foundation for greater energy, sharper focus, and even improved confidence. Around the second week, you might start noticing changes in your drive. Suddenly, the gym feels easier, your workouts feel more productive, and even small tasks at work or at home feel less exhausting. That isn't magic. What's happening is your hormones and your mind are working together. Your testosterone is doing what it always does best, supporting strength, motivation, and vitality. But now, because you've consciously withheld immediate gratification, your brain is more in tune with your natural energy cycles. You feel that subtle surge of drive, that little push that wasn't there before, and it's incredibly empowering. One of the most fascinating aspects of this process is how much psychology plays a role. Many men report feeling more confident during this time, not just because of any physiological change, but because they've proven to themselves that they can control their impulses. That mental victory triggers its own hormonal response. Confidence and assertiveness feed back into testosterone signaling, creating a cycle that supports greater mental clarity and emotional resilience. You begin to notice that small victories compound. Every day of discipline reinforces your self-image as someone who is capable, focused, and in control. By the third week, the changes become even more pronounced. Energy that once went into fleeting pleasures now becomes available for productive life-enhancing activities. People often report better sleep quality, which itself is critical for maintaining optimal testosterone levels. Deep, restorative sleep fuels the body's natural hormone production, and the absence of overstimulation allows the nervous system to calm down and reset. The cumulative effect is subtle but unmistakable. You feel lighter, more alert, and more in tune with both your body and your mind. It's also worth noting that these changes are not just about masculinity or physical strength, they extend into emotional regulation as well. Testosterone helps stabilize mood and encourages assertiveness, but it doesn't work in isolation. The way your body responds to abstinence combined with the mental clarity you develop allows you to approach challenges with calm determination instead of impulsive reactions. You notice how your patience improves, how your ability to plan and execute increases, and how small annoyances no longer drain your energy the way they used to. Even though the effects are gradual, they are cumulative. By the end of the 30 days, many men feel a real shift in their sense of vitality. They feel more in control of their energy, their focus, and their actions. They feel a stronger alignment between what they want to achieve and the energy they bring to the table every day. And perhaps most importantly, they realize that their body is capable of more than they had assumed, that they can harness their natural hormonal rhythms to support discipline, clarity, and drive, rather than being dictated by impulse or habit. Ultimately, the journey of No Nut November teaches a profound lesson about self-mastery. The changes in testosterone and hormonal balance are not about instant gratification or sudden transformation. They are about giving your body and mind the space to recalibrate, to regain control, and to direct energy where it truly matters. By the end of the challenge, you don't just feel stronger physically, you feel stronger mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that realization is a reminder that the power to change isn't found in shortcuts or quick fixes, but in patience, awareness, and the discipline to stay committed to your own growth. As we move through the journey of No Nut November, one of the most surprising transformations isn't always physical, it's mental. Many men expect to feel changes in energy or strength, and while those things do happen, the shift in mental clarity and focus is where the challenge really shows its power. In the first few days, your mind feels restless. You may find your thoughts wandering more than usual, or notice small irritations that didn't bother you before. That's natural. Our brains have been conditioned to seek instant gratification, to chase quick hits of dopamine whenever we feel even the slightest urge. By abstaining, you interrupt that cycle, and in doing so, you start to give your brain a chance to recalibrate. During the early phase, it can feel uncomfortable. You might catch yourself daydreaming or feeling distracted in situations where previously your attention was sharp. That is the brain's way of adjusting. It is trying to find the same level of stimulation it has grown used to, and it doesn't happen overnight. But as you resist these impulses, a remarkable thing begins to happen. Your mind starts to notice the details you used to overlook. You begin to experience a heightened awareness of your surroundings, your work, and even your own thoughts. This awareness is the first sign that your mental focus is shifting from distraction to intention. As the second week unfolds, many men report a subtle yet powerful increase in productivity. Tasks that once felt tedious suddenly feel manageable, even satisfying. This isn't just coincidence. It's the result of your brain slowly rewiring its reward system. The dopamine that was once consistently released in quick bursts is now being used more efficiently. Small victories, finishing a project, completing a workout, or even handling a difficult conversation calmly become sources of real satisfaction. You start to feel a genuine sense of accomplishment that doesn't rely on instant pleasure but comes from effort, discipline, and engagement. With this growing clarity, you also notice a change in your energy levels. It's not the jittery, rushed energy you might get from caffeine or other stimulants. It's steadier, more consistent. You find that your motivation doesn't spike and crash as it once did. Instead, it flows. You can focus for longer periods, maintain concentration without forcing it, and approach challenges with a level-headed determination that wasn't possible before. This is where the mental benefits of No Nut November truly become tangible. By the third week, many men experience what can only be described as a mental reset. Your thoughts are less cluttered, you feel more deliberate in your decision making, you start noticing patterns in your behavior that previously went unchecked. For instance, maybe you realize that you often procrastinate when bored, or that your mind drifts toward easy pleasure rather than meaningful engagement. With this awareness comes choice. You can actively redirect your attention toward productive or creative pursuits, and you begin to understand the power you have over your own mental state. Interestingly, this clarity also affects emotional regulation. As your brain recalibrates, you become less reactive to minor annoyances. Stressful situations that used to trigger frustration or impatience now seem manageable. You notice an increase in patience, an ability to stay calm in moments where you might have lost control before. The mind becomes a tool rather than a wild animal, and with that tool in your hands, you're able to channel energy toward goals that matter instead of getting pulled into habits that drain you. One of the most profound aspects of this mental transformation is the way it impacts self-perception. By the third week, you're no longer measuring your worth by fleeting pleasure or instant gratification. You start seeing yourself as someone who is capable, disciplined, and focused. That internal sense of control translates outward. Your conversations improve, your body language becomes more confident, and your overall presence shifts in ways that others can sense, even if they can't quite articulate why. By the time 30 days are up, the changes in your mind are undeniable. You feel sharper, more alert, and more in command of your thoughts than you have in years. You've learned that focus isn't about forcing attention. It's about creating the conditions where your brain can naturally operate at its best. The energy that once went into chasing constant stimulation is now available to fuel growth, creativity, and meaningful connection. You begin to understand that the clarity you've gained is more than a temporary side effect. It's a foundation for lasting mental strength. No Nut November isn't just a test of willpower. It's an invitation to reclaim your mental energy, to experience what it feels like when your brain operates without constant distraction. And when that clarity arrives, it changes everything, the way you approach your work, your relationships, and your own potential. In those 30 days, you learn that focus, once cultivated, becomes a superpower that extends far beyond the challenge itself. As the days pass during No Nut November, one of the most profound transformations that occurs isn't just physical or hormonal, it's mental, and it manifests as incredible growth in self-discipline and willpower. Many men enter this challenge thinking it's simply about abstaining from a habit, and at first, it might feel exactly like that. The early days are a test, yes, but they are also an eye-opening look at how much of your daily life is influenced by impulses you rarely examine. Every urge you resist, every temptation you confront, is more than just a moment of self-control. It's a brick in the foundation of a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. The first week can feel like a tug-of-war. You may notice yourself battling the same thoughts over and over again, questioning why this challenge even matters, or wondering if it's worth the struggle. That mental tension is exactly where growth begins. Willpower isn't a static trait you either have or lack, it's a skill that strengthens with practice. Each time you resist a fleeting urge, your mind learns that it doesn't have to give in immediately to every impulse. It's as if your mental muscle is being exercised in real time, and by the end of the week, even the smallest victories start to feel empowering. You begin to see that you are capable of more than you assumed. By the second week, this practice of self-discipline starts to ripple into other areas of your life. It's not just about saying no to instant gratification anymore. It becomes about making intentional choices across the board. You may notice that your workouts are more consistent, that you're more productive at work, or that you can calmly navigate situations that would normally trigger stress or frustration. This is the power of building willpower. It's not confined to a single habit. Every act of self-control strengthens your overall capacity to pursue long-term goals, and suddenly the things that once felt difficult start to feel achievable. What's remarkable about this process is that it's deeply tied to self-awareness. Discipline is not about punishment or restriction. It's about understanding your impulses and learning how to guide them. As the days progress, you become increasingly conscious of the triggers that push you toward old habits. Maybe it's boredom, stress, or even certain social cues. Once you recognize these triggers, you gain the ability to respond intentionally rather than react automatically. That awareness alone is transformative. It allows you to step back from impulsive behavior and redirect your energy toward things that build rather than deplete you. By the third week, the challenge begins to feel less like deprivation and more like empowerment. The energy that was once spent on fleeting indulgences is now available for deliberate action. Your mind starts to feel sharper, your focus more precise, and your decisions more considered. Every time you choose self-control over instant satisfaction, you reinforce a sense of mastery over your own life. You realize that you are not a prisoner to your impulses, that with patience and intention, you can direct your thoughts, your energy, and your actions in a way that aligns with your goals and values. The beauty of this growth is that it compounds. Each day you maintain discipline builds confidence for the next. You begin to trust yourself more deeply because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through even when it's difficult. And that trust is invaluable. It seeps into your relationships, your work, and every corner of your daily life. You start approaching challenges with calm determination rather than anxiety, knowing that no matter the temptation or distraction, you have the inner strength to stay the course. Perhaps the most profound shift happens toward the end of the month, when self-discipline ceases to feel like a struggle and becomes a defining characteristic of who you are. You carry yourself differently, not because anyone is watching, but because you've built an internal sense of accountability and integrity. You've proven that you can set boundaries for yourself and honor them. That realization is liberating. It's a reminder that discipline isn't about denying yourself, it's about respecting yourself enough to make choices that align with your highest potential. By the 30th day, the challenge leaves a lasting imprint. You've strengthened your willpower, sharpened your self-awareness, and learned to redirect your energy toward meaningful pursuits. What began as a simple commitment to abstain has blossomed into a profound journey of personal mastery. You understand that the power to control your impulses is not limited to a single month or a single habit. It is a skill you can carry forward into every aspect of your life. As we continue through the journey of No Nut November, one of the most noticeable shifts that often surprises men is in their physical energy and overall vitality. It's easy to think of this challenge purely as a mental or hormonal exercise, but the truth is, your body responds in subtle yet significant ways. In the first few days, you might not feel a dramatic difference. Fatigue can come and go, and your routines might feel exactly the same. But underneath that surface, changes are already beginning. Every time you resist an urge, every time you choose discipline over instant gratification, your body starts to recalibrate. Energy that was once fleeting, scattered across momentary pleasures, begins to stabilize and flow in a more consistent, purposeful way. During the first week, it's common to notice a sense of restlessness. Some men experience a kind of low-grade fatigue, while others feel moments of unexpected alertness. Both are part of the process. Your nervous system is adjusting to a different rhythm, a rhythm where energy isn't constantly being drained by habitual release. In that adjustment period, the body is essentially learning to redistribute its resources. Stamina, focus, and even subtle physical coordination are being recalibrated to support more sustained effort rather than short bursts of fleeting satisfaction. As the second week unfolds, the effects on physical energy often become more pronounced. Men report feeling lighter, more agile, and more motivated to engage in activities that they might have previously avoided. Workouts feel more productive, and the endurance that once seemed limited begins to stretch. This isn't a sudden surge of strength or an immediate physical transformation, but a gradual, cumulative shift. The body is conserving and redirecting energy that was once spent on instant gratification, allowing it to be invested in tasks that truly matter, whether it's exercise, work, or simply the flow of daily life. Sleep is another area that often improves during this period. Many participants notice that they fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, and wake feeling more refreshed. This improvement is more than coincidence. By reducing overstimulation and allowing the nervous system to reset, the body can enter restorative sleep cycles more efficiently. Deep, quality sleep, in turn, supports hormonal balance, tissue recovery, and overall energy levels. It's a feedback loop that reinforces the benefits of the challenge. Better energy leads to better sleep, and better sleep fuels higher energy and vitality. By the third week, small physical changes start to compound into more noticeable differences. There's often a subtle improvement in posture as mental focus and self-awareness extend into the way you carry your body. Movements feel more deliberate, workouts feel sharper, and everyday activities require less mental and physical effort. Many men notice that tasks that used to drain them no longer do, and that their stamina, both in fitness and in daily life, has improved. The energy that was once tied up in fleeting impulses is now available to fuel meaningful pursuits, creating a sense of physical presence and capability that's hard to ignore. These physical changes are also closely linked to mental and emotional benefits. As energy stabilizes, mood often improves, and irritability diminishes. When your body isn't constantly drained by repetitive habits, it becomes easier to manage stress and approach challenges with calm determination. That combination of mental clarity and physical energy creates a feedback loop of well-being, reinforcing the lessons of focus and discipline learned during the earlier stages of the challenge. It's remarkable how interconnected these shifts are. The discipline cultivated through No Nut November doesn't just affect your mind. It flows directly into your body. The energy that once dissipated in fleeting pleasure now fuels your goals, strengthens your resilience, and amplifies your vitality. You begin to notice that your body feels more responsive, more capable, and more aligned with your intentions. Even subtle changes, like feeling lighter on your feet or more engaged during physical activity, signal a deeper transformation that goes far beyond surface-level improvements. By the end of the 30 days, many men report a profound sense of bodily awareness and energy they hadn't experienced in years. Workouts feel more rewarding, daily activities require less effort, and even simple movements feel more controlled and intentional. These changes are not about instant results or dramatic transformations. They are about the cumulative effect of energy redirected, habits rewired, and focus reclaimed. You feel physically more present, more capable, and more in tune with your own potential. Ultimately, the physical benefits of No Nut November are not just about fitness or stamina. They are about learning to honor and manage your energy. The challenge teaches you that your body is a vessel for purpose, and that the energy you possess can be consciously directed toward growth, productivity, and vitality. By the end of the month, you don't just feel stronger or more energized, you feel aligned, powerful, and capable of sustaining effort in every area of your life. As we approach the final stages of No Nut November, one of the most profound transformations that often goes unnoticed until the very end is psychological and emotional awareness. Many men enter this challenge thinking it's simply about abstaining from a habit, but what they discover is that it's far more than that. Over 30 days, you begin to notice subtle changes in how you think, how you feel, and how you relate to your own impulses. The challenge forces you to confront not only what you do, but why you do it, and in that confrontation, there is a remarkable opportunity for growth. In the first week, emotional awareness often manifests as restlessness or irritability. You may find yourself feeling anxious or frustrated at moments when, previously, these feelings might have gone unnoticed or been easily distracted. That discomfort is your mind signaling that it is adjusting. You are breaking free from automatic behaviors, and in doing so, you become more attuned to your own emotional rhythms. Every urge you resist is not just a test of willpower, it's a chance to observe your emotional responses without judgment. You begin to understand the difference between a fleeting impulse and a meaningful desire, and that distinction is critical. By the second week, this heightened awareness starts to create clarity in other areas of life. You may notice patterns in your thoughts and behaviors that you hadn't paid attention to before. Perhaps you realize that certain triggers, stress, boredom, or specific environments, consistently provoke old habits. Once you recognize these triggers, you gain the power to respond consciously rather than react impulsively. This shift is profound because it transforms moments of potential weakness into opportunities for self-mastery. Instead of feeling controlled by urges, you learn that you can guide your own actions with intention. As the challenge progresses, emotional resilience begins to develop. By actively observing and regulating your impulses, you start to experience less volatility in mood and a greater sense of stability. You may notice that situations which once caused frustration now feel manageable, and moments that used to trigger impatience now pass with relative ease. This emotional steadiness is not just a side effect, it's a direct result of increased self-control and the mental clarity that comes with abstaining. Your mind begins to operate on a higher level of awareness, where emotions are acknowledged but not allowed to dictate your behavior. Around the third week, many men report a sense of psychological empowerment. This is where the lessons of the challenge begin to coalesce into something deeper. You begin to see that abstinence isn't about denial, it's about self-mastery. You are learning to observe your desires, assess their value, and make decisions that align with your long-term goals rather than short-term impulses. This awareness carries over into every area of life. You approach challenges with greater composure, you communicate more effectively, and you make choices with intention rather than habit. The mind becomes a powerful tool rather than a reactive force. What is remarkable about this transformation is how it changes your perception of self. By the end of the month, you have a renewed understanding of your own capacity for control and self-discipline. You realize that you are capable of more than you had assumed, and that your habits, impulses, and emotions can be consciously guided toward growth rather than depletion. This newfound awareness fosters confidence, not in a superficial sense, but in a deep, grounded way. You begin to trust yourself to make choices that honor your long-term well-being, and that trust is transformative. The culmination of this psychological growth is a heightened sense of purpose and presence. You start to see the connection between energy, focus, and emotional regulation. You notice how mental clarity and self-discipline enhance your creativity, productivity, and overall engagement with life. The challenge has taught you that emotional intelligence is not something you are simply born with. It is something you can cultivate through conscious effort and self-reflection. By observing and managing your impulses, you gain mastery over your mind, which in turn allows you to live more intentionally and fully. By the 30th day, the results are undeniable. You feel more aware of your thoughts, more in control of your actions, and more attuned to your emotions. You understand that the challenge was never just about abstaining. It was about learning to regulate yourself, to honor your energy, and to align your actions with your highest intentions. This psychological and emotional growth is perhaps the most valuable outcome of the entire experience. It is a reminder that true strength is not measured solely by physical or mental achievements, but by the ability to understand and guide yourself with intention and awareness. In the end, the most profound lesson of No Nut November is that mastery over your impulses leads to mastery over your life. The clarity, resilience, and emotional intelligence you develop in 30 days do more than improve a single habit. They transform the way you approach every challenge, every goal, and every interaction. And once you realize the power of that self-awareness, you understand that there is nothing in life you cannot face with purpose and strength.